And good morning and welcome to Hot Seat. I'm Scott Mitchell. My guests are Vicki Bone, Oklahoma Interviewing Services, and Maria Rosales Lambert, the founders of Oklahoma Interview Services. And people are saying we've known each other for a lot of years. And I wondered, when I was looking at some statistics at the end of the year about vulnerable Oklahomans, children, even adults, didn't know if you'd ever been on Hot Seat, and we probably needed to have you on just to talk about what's happening in that particular world. You work with children 3 to 17, vulnerable adults. Oklahoma has a kind of a quilt of different sort of organizations that have authority in this regard. It's really hard to understand. Maria, take us through what the situation is in Oklahoma when we're talking about abused children and vulnerable adults.
Well, we have seen a huge increase in cases after the pandemic, and we also know that there's child advocacy centers where children can be interviewed, but in our state, the western part of the state doesn't have a whole lot of services and facilities where the children can be able to come and be interviewed in a child-friendly facility.
So, let me see if I understand this. Western Oklahoma appears to be the least amount of places where they can go. When you're dealing with children interviewing possible crimes, oftentimes you have multiple agencies have to interview that child, correct? And that's traumatic to the children.
Correct. We want to reduce the number of times the children are being interviewed, and we want different agencies to be working together to investigate the cases and not have each agency have to interview the child. So the child is brought to a location, a child advocacy center, where they're interviewed and the interview is recorded, and it serves for the purpose of all the investigative agencies.
But y'all have worked with folks from Tulsa to Western Oklahoma. It happens in all jurisdictions, correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. We have worked in all 77 counties. We respond to all 77 counties. We've worked from Idabel to Miami to Guymon, and so we go wherever we are requested for services.
All right, so as part of the criminal justice system, you do this for prosecutors, law enforcement. I'm wondering how Oklahoma Interviewing Services came to be. What was the sort of needs you were filling?
So due to there being a multitude of child advocacy centers mainly focused central to eastern Oklahoma, there's a huge need in the western part like we had talked about. So one of our main focuses is to provide those services in the more rural areas so that those families are not having to travel an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to receive those services. So we are able to drive to them, and sometimes they have locations that we consider soft rooms. Mm-hmm. So they're child-friendly, but they often could be in a police department or a DHS location. And so the goal is to provide a more neutral, child-friendly setting like the child advocacy centers have. And so to do that, we have a mobile forensic interviewing unit that we can drive, and that provides us a service to go right into those towns to provide the services for those families and children.
I thought you were going to bring up Joey at some point. So this is a photograph of Joey, and Joey is your mobile unit. I know you worked for years to get Joey. Why the need for Joey? Here's some pictures of it on the inside. You can see that it's really set up for children. Vicki, what is the purpose of Joey, and why is it so necessary in Oklahoma?
So it's extremely important that a child and a family have a very neutral, non-threatening environment for that forensic interview to happen. That really reduces the anxiety that a child may encounter as they have to come in and talk about the abuse that they've either that's happened to them or that they may have witnessed. And so we want to provide that comforting environment for those interviews to happen. And we have an advocate that will meet with the families and provide services for them during the forensic interview, meet with the caregivers while we're conducting that forensic interview.
All right, well, right here on the screen, you can see where to reach Vicki or where to reach Maria. And we thank what you're doing. I'm glad people get to know what you folks do not toot your own horn. You spend time getting work on the most vulnerable Oklahomans. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us here today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching Hot Seat. See this again at news9.com and news16.com. Follow me on my socials at Mitchell Talk.